Hello children, welcome once again to this Oyster Academy YouTube channel, and I am again here with another video on the lesson why do we fall ill. And as I promised that our next video will be on the different types of infectious diseases. Now as we can see, the types of infectious diseases and their causative agents. As I told you, infectious diseases are generally caused by microbes and of course the worms. So we will be taking a very quick review of all these diseases. Now let's start with the bacterial diseases. Can you see here? Bacterial diseases, they are typhoid, cholera, tuberculosis and acne. Acne, here I would like to mention that acne is a non-infectious disease, though we are doing it under infectious diseases. But since it is mentioned in our NCERT book, so we are taking it. Acne, again, it is caused by a bacteria called Staphylococci. And it is a non-infectious disease, like pimples or pus formation, pustules are, you can say, they appear on the face. So this is what acne is. Next is typhoid and cholera. Typhoid is caused by Salmonella typhi and cholera is caused by Vibrio cholerae. You need not to worry about the names, but still for the knowledge purpose we should know it, because, and I would like to remind you here also how to write the botanical or zoological names of the organisms. See, S I have kept capital and T, the second name, that is with small letter, and separately they are to be underlined. Same is the case cholera, which is caused by a bacteria Vibrio cholerae, again separately underlined. Then tuberculosis, it is caused by bacteria called Mycobacterium tuberculosis, right? Now typhoid and cholera, these two diseases are spread through contaminated food or water, because if we drink water or food which is contaminated by this bacteria, so they enter our body and they cause diseases and our body gets infected, especially the gut. Gut is the alimentary canal, and in these two diseases what happens here is that the patient feels dehydrated, lot of diarrhea, vomiting, high fever. So these are the symptoms, and on lab tests the doctors can confirm whether it's a typhoid or cholera, and accordingly the treatment is given to the patient. Next is tuberculosis. Tuberculosis, as short we also know as, it is also known as TB. And this tuberculosis can be of the lungs also. Generally it's of the lungs, and tuberculosis can be in the stomach area also, and tuberculosis, that is this bacteria can infect the spine, that is the backbone also, right? So these are the rare cases, but generally tuberculosis, this bacteria infect the lungs. So it is spread through air. If a person coughs or sneezes, then this type of bacteria, they enter through nose or the nasal area and it infects the lungs. So this was all about the bacterial diseases. Now next type of diseases, they are caused by fungus, so they are known as fungal diseases. They are generally called skin infection. And the next type of microbe are the protozoans. They are generally, all are unicellular. Malaria, Kala Azar and sleeping sickness. These three diseases, they are generally caused by insect bites, and these insects, they act as vectors. And vectors we will be discussing in the coming video also. As you know, vectors are those organisms or maybe insects, maybe animal, which transfer or transmit the disease from the infected person to the healthy person. But they themselves don't get infected. And you must have heard that malaria, it is caused by the mosquito bite, and here the mosquito is female Anopheles mosquito, right? So they transmit the protozoan, that is Plasmodium malariae. Plasmodium malariae. And malaria, it's a high fever disease. Person feels shivering and very high fever. And next is the Kala Azar. It is also known as black fever in India, again caused by a protozoan called Leishmania. And why it is known as Kala Azar or black fever? Because in this, along with the fever, what happens, the blackening or darkening of the skin also occurs. Next is the sleeping sickness. Sleeping sickness is caused by a protozoan called trypanosoma. Why we are focusing on these type of diseases? Because generally in the exam, the questions are specially asked from the NCERT book, and all these diseases are mentioned in that book. So I would like to suggest you go through NCERT book also, and after listening to the lecture, because all MCQs and one word questions, they come from, or the questions are set from these pages, right? And next we are moving to another types of diseases that are caused by worms. Now see, the worms, actually the larva, the small eggs of these worms, they are present in the food, or they are present in the feces of the human beings, that is excreta, and this is how they are transmitted. And these diseases, few we will be mentioning only two, that is elephantiasis. It is also known as filariasis. It is caused by the worm known as filaria. And why it is known as elephantiasis? Because in this type of disease, the patients, the legs, they get swollen. They get bigger in size, just as the foot of an elephant, and hence the disease, elephantiasis. Next is the teniasis. Actually, it is caused by the flatworm, which is known as tapeworm. Why it is known as teniasis? Because the scientific name of tapeworm is Taenia solium. Right? So I'll write it over here, Taenia solium. So the larvae of this worm, it is found in the human excreta, and this human excreta is consumed by the pigs. So this second stage of this larvae of this tapeworm, it is you can say the second stage takes place in the muscles of the pig, and if a person eats half cooked pork or a semi-cooked pork, then this pork means the pig's meat, and it enters the human being. Infection of this Taenia solium is caused in the human body. So that was all about the different types of diseases, and press the like button if you like it, and if you haven't subscribed, do subscribe it. Thank you and happy learning.